Okay, today we're going to talk about modeling the subtraction of integers. Again, just like with adding integers, there are two methods that you could use to show subtraction of integers. The first method is to use counters. We already discussed what counters are or could be and what they represent. Of course, one would be positive, one negative. The second method that we're going to discuss today is using a number line to model subtraction. For both of these methods, it's important to know how to read the subtraction sign. Instead of reading it minus or take away, it might be helpful when you see a subtraction sign to use the word remove when modeling. For example, 5 remove 2 or 5 minus 2. We have 5 positives, and from that 5 positives, we're going to remove 2 positives. So to model the solution, which of course is 3, I'm going to start with 5 positives. And from my 5 positives, I'm going to remove 2 positives, leaving me a solution of 3. Another problem, we have 3, positive 3, minus positive 5. Another way of reading the problem is 3 positives, remove 5 positives. So when you were modeling this problem, of course you're going to start by showing 3 positives. And from this 3, we must remove 5 positives. Well, as you can clearly see, we only have 3 positives. So in order to remove 5 positives, that means we're going to have to put in 2 additional positive symbols. Now, since we've put in 2 positives, in order to keep the model balanced at positive 3, we have to put in 2 negatives as well. So now we have enough counters to do the problem. 3 positives, remove 5 positives, and what you're left with is negative 2. Another example, 5 positives, remove 2 negatives. So the first integer is a positive 5. So what I'm going to do is put in 5 positives. And from these 5 positives, I must remove 2 negatives. Well, as you can see, I don't have 2 negatives. So in order to remove 2 negatives, I have to first have them. And since I've put in 2 negatives, in order to keep the model balanced at positive 5, I have to also put in 2 positives. Remember, 1 negative and 1 positive cancel each other out. So now I have enough counters to do the problem. 5 positives, remove 2 negatives, and the solution appears to be a positive 7. The last example for counters, negative 2 minus negative 5, or in other words, 2 negatives, remove 5 negatives. Okay, so the first integer is 2 negatives. There we have 2 negatives. From that, I have to remove 5 negatives. Well, we only have 2 negatives, which means I'm going to have to add in 3 more negatives so that I can have those 5 negatives. And since I added in 3 negatives, in order to keep it balanced, I must also add in 3 positives. Now I have enough counters to do the problem. 2 negatives, remove 5 negatives, and what you're left with are 3 positives, or positive 3. So what I've just shown you is how to use counters to model subtraction. Now I'm going to show you how to use a number line to model subtraction. Again, you're still going to read that subtraction symbol the same way as remove. So in the previous problem, we modeled this, and of course we knew the answer was 3. But let me show you how to model it using a number line. You will start at 0. It says 5, remove 2 positives. So from 0, we will jump over to 5. And we learned back in elementary that when you subtract, it's like moving backwards. So from the 5, we will move back 2 places. And we end up at 3 as the solution. Here's another example. 3, remove 5. So from 0, we will move over or jump over to 3. And from the 3, we are asked to remove or go back 5. So from the positive 3, we would move back the 3 places back to 0, and then 2 more places past the 0, which puts us at the solution of -2. Now, in this example, we have 5 remove -2. This is a little different. The key here is remove -2. Hopefully, from our previous lesson, we understand that in order to remove negatives, the only way to do that is to put in or show positives. So from 0, we will jump to 5, since the first integer is a 5. Let's say 5 is here. And from that 5, we must remove -2. That negative changes things a bit. Remember, the opposite, or how you remove -2, is by adding +2. So from the positive 5, we will remove the -2 by moving forward 2 places, which gives us the solution of 7. Let's do another one. In this example, it says -2 remove -5. We just discussed this. In order to remove 5 negatives, you must add 5 positives. So when you're modeling on the number line, you will of course start at 0 and move over to -2. And in order to remove 5 negatives, or -5, you must show an addition of 5. So in order to add, you're going to move forward 5 places. So that's 2 places to take us back to the 0. And 3 more places will leave us at +3.